Hello and welcome to Dateline Lagos on Channels Television. I'm Ayotunde Balogun. Coming up on the program, we take a look at the latest investment on the waterways as a viable alternative means of transportation. And Governor Sanwo-Olu charts a new course for the youth at the first Lagos Leadership Summit. Water transportation sector in Lagos State is receiving a lot of attention from the government. The general manager of the Lagos State Waterways Authority, Oluwadamilola Emmanuel, says about 2 million people use the waterways on a daily basis and are being monitored with the use of technology. He asked residents plying the waterways to report any irregularity found along the designated routes. Take a look.
The waterways around Lagos State is a sight to behold both in the morning and evening. But there is more to just admiring the beauty. It's now becoming one of the fastest modes of commuting in Lagos. And with the constant improvements, the Lagos State government is working to ensure it's one of the safest. With about 15 local government areas accessible by water in the state, 7 new jetties were commissioned across the state last year to develop the intermodal transportation scheme.
Citizens of Lagos were particularly to this community of Itobo and its environs.
The waterways is getting busier by the day, connecting millions of Lagosians who are either going to their place of work or personal business on a daily basis by reducing the travel time. I'm also towing that same line by embarking on a journey from Falomo to CMS to have a first-hand experience of the waterways route. The Lagos State Waterways Authority is saddled with the responsibility of ensuring the smooth running of all vessels operating from 44 jetties and 12 terminals with daily average trip of 261 recorded by LASG. Ferry services operated by the Lagos State government covers 27 routes with an average of 35 trips per day. We have just arrived at CMS Marina Terminal. It took us just 10 minutes to arrive here. At this particular location, intermodal transportation is fully operational. You can either go by train or by road or by waterways. Even with the stringent measures put in place by the government, some passengers still have their reservations about pricing and safety.
I often apply the water because it's much safer. It's safer and there's no hold up on the water.
I'm coming from Korodu, from Agric as well. But at the same time, waterway is better. 20-25 minutes is better than the road. But the only area I want them to work on it is they should be checking on their boat when they are picking passengers before they leave to anywhere they are going at all. That's just it. Because sometimes the boat will stop on the water, like now. 2 boats came to pick us, rescue us, before getting to follow.
I'm actually coming from Ikorodu, Ebute side down to Falomo here. So it's faster for me from Ikorodu to this place is like 25 minutes plus or minus. I'm going to Falomo here, so why do I have to follow? Why do I have to use road transport? It's faster, though waterway is quite expensive. The last 2 weeks, it used to be 2,000, but funny, this morning is 2,002.
Private operators say they are also struggling to remain in business at this difficult period. One of the boat operators, Lekon Taiwo, expects government to invest more into the sector.
Charge 2,000 naira, and ideally we should charge 2,500 naira. At times in the evenings we charge as low as 1,500 naira. The same price we charge while fuel was selling at below 200 naira. It takes on the average 18 months to 24 months to break even. That is, you realize your capital back then, but at the moment it will take 5, 6, 7 years, and the engines can't last that long. It means that the business is not as viable and as lucrative as it used to be. Before now, we do 3, 4, 5 trips in the mornings and 1 or 2 trips in the evening. But now we do just 1 trip in the morning and 1 trip back in the evening. It costs an average of 25 to 30 million back then to build a 33-passenger boat, complete with brand new engines. Perhaps because of the exchange rates, at the moment it costs as much as 50, 60 million naira for the same facility. All over the world, transportation is subsidized. Government needs to subsidize the passengers' fare and then the operators' fuel and other overhead costs.
Another opportunity to join the state officials in charge as they test the waters to ensure everything is in order. The General Manager of the Lagos State Waterways Authority, Oluwadamilola Emmanuel, is on a boat ride with the Commissioner for Transportation, Oluwaseun Oshiemi, from Falomo to Ebutero. The LASG GM explains the latest development in his agency.
We currently have about 356 boats on our waterways, and this is a large consortium of different operators spanning across the 5 divisions of the state. However, what we've been able to get them to do is begin to form cooperatives, and as we speak today, we have 3 major cooperatives on the waterways, because that's the only way truly government can even support them as well. And of course, we have a monitoring and a patrol team which is going around to ensure that people are adhering to the basic safety rules and regulations. And we must attest that over the last few years, we've seen a reduction in the amount of accidents on the waterways in Lagos State. Well, it's always an average of between 1.8 million to 2 million people on a monthly basis. We hope that would increase. But as you know, there are also alternatives now. There's also the rail service as well. Well, it's a private sector driven sector, and for us, it's that's always the way it's been, because as you know, the private sector should drive any economic. Government does create an enabling environment, and through the application, it makes it easier for us to know what exactly you want to do. We also can see your capacity, because it's not just about coming as an individual and saying, okay, I have a boat and I want to run from here to here. What are your plans? And how does that sync into our own plan as well? So the state government has a plan, and of course, if you fit into that plan, you apply, and then of course, if you pass the process, then you're given a permit to operate on the waterways.
Minimum specifications for boats plying Lagos waterways include the length, thickness of the beams, weight of the vessel, maximum numbers of passengers, maximum speed, fueling, machinery, among others. In a few weeks from now, the state government will hand over new boats that will meet the standards to private operators.
The boats that are being constructed right now are actually 25. As we speak, we have about 15 to 17 done. There's a commissioning that should happen for those boats in the next, I would say maybe 2 to 3 weeks. These boats are being manufactured such that they can be given to operators, and also some, of course, it's an intervention that would, of course, improve movement on our waterways. What this does is that we'll be able to move more people than we do presently.
The provision of a monitoring and data management center is already in operation to track activities on the waterways.
This sort of like what you call a modern day control room. And what it does is that it helps us see real-time several locations on our waterways. As you see on the screens right now, there's Falomo, there's Ebutero, and this enables us as well be able to see what is going on. We have cameras which are also long-range cameras, where from the jetty they can see as long as 2.5 kilometers within the axis of the jetties. This has, of course, significantly boosted all of the activities which are going around the jetty for us to have surveillance of them. This, of course, has also helped in terms of response to any emergency that may occur around this area as well. And then, of course, the second part as well is the data. We also have our own water guards who are stationed at those jetties. And as they are taking those data of how many boats are coming, how many passengers, they send it back to the control room. And that is the figure that is put up on the screen. So you can see how all of the data is coming in real time. Through this Waterway Monitoring and Data Management Center, we're able to also take the water depths at different locations. We're able to take the water depths at different locations. And of course, all of this information is going to be critical for all existing users of the waterways, be it boat operators, be it passengers, because we can inform them ahead. Oh, we've noticed that this particular area, the water depth is currently low, and of course, several other things as well. This is just the phase 1. The phase 2, which we're also currently doing right now, is also going to see us beginning to communicate. We're going to have a full setup communication system with the boats on the waterways. Initially, we're starting with our own boats, and then we expand, of course, to the private operators as well. Altogether, entire waterways, there are 40 major routes. However, we have 15 of those major routes. And some of those routes are Ikorodu to Falomo, you have Ikorodu to CMS, you have Badagry to CMS, you have Liverpool to Falomo, you have Badore to Ijede, you have, of course, Ekpe to CMS, you also have Ijego Eba to CMS, but CMS is always like a central point, like a central hub where they usually all come to as well. So the whole idea is that out of 20 local governments in Lagos State, 15 of them are accessible by water. But at each of those 15, there also has to be one mode it connects to, either Ebi Road, and now thank God the rail has started as well. We also have it connecting to the rail as well. So the whole idea of all of this is to ensure that what we currently have, we can optimize it. I think it's more about optimization of even the existing ones rather than increasing to more routes. No, it's to actually optimize those existing routes. One, to ensure that all of those infrastructure that are there are being optimized to their fullest capacity. So for example, what we'll be doing is increasing how many boats are on each of those routes and how many operators are currently operating on those routes, as opposed to trying to get more routes because they're just populating routes, but you're not really maximizing those routes. So it's more of maximizing and optimizing those routes as opposed to just increasing routes. Well, I think our message has always remained the same. It's all about safety. First of all, ensure you always wear your life jacket when you go on the waterways. And of course, if you see anything, also say something. And the state government would like the entire citizen of Lagos to know that we've also started to introduce the use of a cowrie card now on the water transportation system. It has massively started in the Ikorodu axis. We intend to expand that to all other areas. And cowrie card, of course, as you know, has helped to, one, the ease of payment, also to ensure that you no longer have to write your names physically. It's now the use of the digital manifest. And of course, even with every trip now on cowrie card, you're also insured as a passenger. In case of any emergency, of course, you call the usual emergency lines at 767 or 112, or also feel free to call any of our last one lines, 0809 012 9777 or 0809 012 9888.
Biannual inspection of boats plying the waterways is a compulsory exercise for LASWA to identify rickety ones.
These boats tend to last, 10 to 15 years. However, it's all about maintenance, like anything. With the water operators, we try to carry out a carrot and a stick approach. But it seems like they prefer the stick approach because you know how it is. They'll say, government should support us, government should encourage us. But we're like, we want to encourage you, but you as well do the basics you should do. You'll be amazed that a lot of them don't even want to do the maintenance as well when they should do the maintenance. And they should be the ones who own their boats and maintain their boats. So we carry out that biannual inspection, and then when we find them, of course, when we find that they are at fault, then we make sure they have to correct whatever it is that's wrong with that boat before we allow that boat to operate. And we've also relied a lot, of course, on the passengers who use it on a day-to-day basis. If you see anything to us, make a note of that boat. Immediately that boat reaches any of its destinations, we will make sure that boat is held there, it is checked, and whatever needs to be done is done before it's allowed to operate again. Water transportation will not be cheaper than road transportation. Their pain is like time saving. There's no traffic. It's that convenience of being able to use the waterways you're paying for. So what you're paying for is the time in which you are saving. So definitely, it would always be more expensive than the road. And that's why they've always complained. So for us on our own side is to ensure that they're not charging exorbitantly. And anywhere, of course, the government can come in, which is, for example, providing of the terminals, providing of life jackets every year as well. Even though we encourage the operators to buy, we as regulators, we still donate life jackets to them as well.
While the Lagos State government continues to improve its safety measures on the waterways, boat operators have been asked to stick to the scheduled time of operations, failure of which will lead to suspension or withdrawal of operating licenses.
The Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has asked the youth to channel their energy, knowledge, and, of course, creativity to actions that will project their leadership skills. Governor Sanwo-Olu was speaking at the first Lagos Leadership Summit held in Lekki.
It's a roll call of dignitaries at the inaugural Lagos Leadership Summit in Lekki, including the Lagos State Governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, his deputy, Kadri Hamzat, former Minister of Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, Minister of Communications, Innovations and Digital Economy, Olatubosun Tijani, amongst others. They are here to ignite new passion and zeal towards charting a new course of action for the country's future. The event, organized by Lateef Jakonde Leadership Academy, presents an opportunity for inclusive interaction between old and new generations in the public and private sector.
This summit represents not just a convergence of brilliant minds, but a celebration of the transformative power of effective leadership. The theme for this summit is Leadership and Nigeria's Future, which resonates deeply with the challenges and opportunities we face as a nation. As we look ahead to Nigeria's future, we must recognize that our destiny not only lies in the hands of those who lead us, but the citizens. Therefore, investing in our dynamic youth population, like you are all here today, is crucial, as it nurtures the future leaders equipped with innovative solutions, shaping the trajectory of Nigeria's future. Our world is evolving at an unprecedented pace, and the challenges we face require leaders who are not only capable, but compassionate. We need leaders who inspire confidence in our young people, foster unity, and drive transformation. And that role can begin with whatever position you are in right now.
Those holding leadership roles take turns to engage the youth. First in line is the Minister for Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy, who urges the participants to go with the trend of technological advancement currently shaping the world.
Most of the time when we talk about technology in society, people make the assumption that this is something that is alien, that is modern, that is not compulsory. But the truth is, historically, you actually don't see any nation in the world that gets to develop without investing in technology. Absolutely no nation. But the thinking here is to point to the fact that for you to be a leader, whether you're in the private sector or you're in the public sector, the way you lead is going to be influenced by the current industrial revolution for when you're leading. For the leaders who were leading through first industrial revolution, you can imagine if you're in the public sector, you're thinking, how do we ensure that we can make railway possible and we can invest in railway? Because that was the innovation then. If you're in the private sector, you're thinking, how do we take advantage of this phenomenon? If you're a leader today, and you can ask our governor and deputy governor, you're thinking, how do we automate everything? What do we do with the data sets that we're collecting? Many people don't think data privacy as well. Nearly everyone in the room today is carrying a device, a mobile phone that is probably connected to the internet, that is collecting data on you, what you do, where you are at every point in time. And there are people who are collecting this data. And these people who are collecting this data can do a better job at mapping what is happening within any territory. So as a leader, if you don't understand the implication of the data set that people are collecting on your territory, you're actually not the one in control. There are other people who are more powerful than you, but you may not know that. This is why technology is also quite important for leadership. And at the same time, if you don't invest in the infrastructure to allow people to be able to benefit from it, you close up economic opportunities for your people as well. So it's important as leaders, whether we're aiming to be leaders in the private sector or in the public sector, that we're actually aware of this phenomenon.
The State Deputy Governor, Kadri Hamzat, shared perspectives on leadership and community engagement, strengthening the social fabric of Nigeria, during a session moderated by the Special Advisor to the Governor on Legal Matters and Public-Private Partnership.
Community engagement for me is, how do we make sure that as Africans, we pull everybody together? So, the challenge is, if in primary school, it is free, In secondary school, it is free. Since when our president now was the governor of Lagos State started paying for WAEC. So that the essence is to empower our children so that it's not that, oh, I couldn't pay. That's why. So the question is, why are people still not going to school? So we must look at relationship between the community and parents. And can I intervene as a community person to say, oh, I see these kids, they are not going to school. What is the problem? And so the essence for me in terms of leadership as it relates to that issue is how can I be part of that ecosystem that move that conversation forward to say, why should there be children in our community that is not going to school? What are the challenges? Because there are various institutions. Lagos State has a program that we call Leave No Child Behind and Zero Something. We realized that during COVID, when children were coming back, the number sort of went down. And we were looking for why. What happened? Why are these kids not going back? And, we must give credit to private sector. Everybody contributed. They realized maybe it's because of financial. Everybody came together and were able to bring majority of them back, except those that have left the city or left the state. So the government is working to make sure that we don't have this. But the fundamental problem has to do with the home. Where are the children coming from? How are we managing our kids at home? And how is the community relating to that?
Mr. Babatunde Fashola lends his voice on ethical leadership and its impact on nation building. He advises the youth to go through the rudimentary process of leadership before being entrusted with responsibilities.
Global best practice is something akin to the fruit of the newspaper test that one of the panelists here discussed. Underpinning that is the question, self-introspection, is what I am doing ethical? Does it comply with the law? Can I stand up to this? Can I defend this? Will society accept this? And so, but in the age of globalization, the need to also expand the scope of what ethical leadership will demand of us resonates around issues like inclusion. And those who have not had a voice in our society before are beginning to find voices. And therefore, how are we responding to the vocalization of their quest to be recognized? And those are the things that will challenge leaders on an ethical basis. And I think that this institute is something that speaks to that ethical response. A young generation that is looking for mentorship and a government that responds to it by providing this kind of platform.
Let's welcome Mr. Governor Babajide Olusola.
Governor Sanwo-Olu says the summit was initiated with the objective to create an engaging platform for young people to channel their energy and knowledge to actions that will project their leadership skills.
You are here to think out of the box. You are here to be able to innovate for us. You are here as leaders, not of tomorrow, but today, to help us bring about solutions that government can use as a tool to solve the challenges that we're facing today, but more importantly, to be able to solve global issues, to be able to solve global problems. And that's why we had birthed the Lateef Jakonde Leadership Academy. I feel truly honored that it's in our time that a great Lagosian, an outstanding Nigeria, a man that indeed is still very difficult for us to fill his shoes, the late Alhaji Lateef Jakonde, aka Baba Kekere, who I'm sure when he was governor of Lagos State, the first civilian governor of Lagos State, and for us as a government, we felt how well can we honor a man than for us in public sector to set up the cream of new leaders that we also would donate and will outlive us. So we set up this school as an academy that has the first set that will be ending the first fellowship, which has been a one-year fellowship, 30 of them, who indeed have not only shown us that we took the right step, but they've been outstanding individuals. They're self-starters, they've been self-motivated, and indeed, I've been truly excited that we took the call. And the 30 of them has indeed challenged us and said that, you know what, we're not just the best, there are several others that are still going to come behind us that are also going to do great things. And for us, is to just be able to reflect our modest donation to the leadership discourse of our country. This country is beckoning on you. This country is asking of you to innovate, think out of the box, take over your world. Our own demonstration is just in these little young Nigerians that were brought forward. But I know in them, there are several of you that are sitting here. There are several of you that are home listening to me. There are several of you that are out there struggling. And my experience says that you shouldn't give up.
Lateef Jakonde Leadership Academy kicked off with 30 fellows last year, August, with the aim to build skills, awareness amongst young people, offer first-hand experience into the process of governance at the state government level. The Lateef Jakonde Leadership Academy portal has now been opened for the next set of interest participants to apply for the one-year program. The event was rounded up with an award presentation to the founder of the Chess in Slums, Tunde Onakoya, who goes home with a sum of 5 million naira, and the founder of Women in Leadership Advancement Network, Abosede George Ogang, also receives 5 million naira support from the Lagos State Government.
And that's the program for this week. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Ayotunde Balogun. Remember to always obey all state laws and, of course, help keep our environment clean. Till next time, stay safe. Bye for now.